Almost.
Good.
Live on YouTube. Excellent. Oh yeah, I forgot to switch my little light on. And let's go live on Facebook. Here we go. There we go. We are live on Facebook. We're live on YouTube. Welcome to the Feel Inspired podcast with my very special guest today, the main man, Akash Vaghela. This guy has been doing some crazy shit recently, and the results pretty much speak for themselves. That's what I have to say. I am very impressed. But for anyone who's joining us for the first time, my name is Amit Soda. This is the Feel Inspired podcast. You will find me on Facebook. You'll find me on Instagram. You'll find me all over the place, constantly coaching, inspiring people, doing all the shit that I love. And now this podcast has come about to bring in some incredible guests, some incredible people who are changing lives, but also changing paradigms, I would say, as well. And I think you are definitely one of those individuals. So I wanted to have you on. I'm so glad you decided to come on as well.
Thank you. Really appreciate it.
That's all right, man. So firstly, right, because the truth is, I actually don't know much about you.
Okay.
So I'd love, just for the first couple of minutes, if you can just tell me a little bit about, or tell everyone actually a little bit about who you are as a person, because and how you came to this point in terms of being a bodybuilder. You know, where did it start from?
Yeah.
You know, how it all began.
Sure. So where do you want me to start? Right from the beginning?
Yeah, I think so. Give us like a 2 or 3 minutes sort of like upshot of your life up until this point.
Sure. So right now I run a body transformation company called RNT Fitness, where we specialize in helping regular busy people transform their bodies and change their lives through online coaching. Now, how I got to this point was, like you said at the beginning, it was very much a paradigm shift for everyone around me. In that 10 years ago, I was very much along the lines of following my father's footsteps in becoming a lawyer.
Oh, were you?
You know, the traditional lawyer, finance, doctor, whatever. So I was set to be a lawyer. I was doing work experience all around the world, in London. All my subjects at school were geared towards doing law. Then I got taken to the gym once, as every sort of 17-year-old does. They want to look better for the girls. They want to improve their confidence.
Of course, always.
So
were you on the university path as well? Were you actually doing law, studying law?
I was in the process of writing my personal statements. I was going to open days.
Nice.
I was pretty much about to go and submit the application.
Oh, so this was pre-uni then?
Yeah, pre-uni. So I'm 17 years old.
Gotcha.
And I got bit by the gym bug.
Nice.
And so I started training. And, you know, at the beginning, it was just about improving my confidence, feeling better, trying to attract girls. And then it became a lot more, because I became completely hooked, not just by the act of going to the gym, but also in the science behind it, all the theories, the practical applications of everything that goes on behind it. And all I was doing at school was reading about health and fitness. And one of my best friends, who took me to the gym in the first place, then said to me, we were sitting in a computer room during like a careers event, and I was reading about some training article, and he goes to me, "Have you not considered doing it as a career?"
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't think you can do it as a career. I don't think there's anything in this thing. But that sparked a seed in my head, because then I was like, oh, maybe there is something here. Maybe there's something I can do. So I did some research, and I found out there's something called sports science degree. You get things called personal trainers. And these people, done correctly, can help improve someone's body composition, someone's health, etc.
So what was your shape? Your shape and your body situation at that time as well when you started?
Yeah, so when I started, I was a skinny fat.
Skinny fat. You're like a toffee.
Yeah, skinny fat. So I was 58 kilos, 5'10".
Oh my god, no way! 58
kilos, 5'10", but had moobs and a pot belly. So probably the worst combination. Probably the worst combination of everything. And what had happened is I wanted to change that. And then I got bit by the bug, looked into research, and then decided, right, I'm not going to do law, because I spent some time where my dad works, and that was like the real eye opener, because I was like, I don't think this is for me. So I thought, I'm going to do sports science instead. So the initial reaction was going home, telling my parents, and the first thing they said was, how are you going to pay the bills? And I was like, I'll figure out a way. I don't really know. I just want to do what I want to do.
Yeah.
And then, so I went through university, started helping people at university, friends, family, found out I was getting good results. So I thought, this is a real career that I could build on. Left university, started working in the city as a personal trainer in the Moorgate, Liverpool Street area. Worked there for 4 to 5 years. And then it was getting to the point where I didn't see the sustainability of leaving my house at 5:30 in the morning till 10 p.m. at night, being on the gym floor. I thought, if I have a family, I'm never going to see them.
Yeah.
So then the seeds started planting of doing it online, which is where RNT Fitness comes in. And as of 2017, in May, we launched RNT Fitness, which is ultimately online body transformation coaching.
So where did the online concept come from as well?
Yeah, so the idea was that I was getting very burnt out from being on the gym floor.
It was that was the idea. That was the spurning of that idea.
So
okay, cool.
What I didn't want to do is be trading time for money all the time and always being guided by the clock.
Yeah.
There's only so many hours in the day. There's only so many people you can help. And I didn't want to have that limitation put on me. I didn't want to have the stress of waking up at 4 and to have your 6 a.m. client cancel on you at 4:30 in the morning. It just wasn't a life that I wanted to live for a long run. And like I said before, if I ever have a family, it's just not a sustainable lifestyle.
Yeah.
So I wanted to build something where I'm in control of my time and I can help more people, which ultimately is the natural path is online.
Wow, that's incredible as well. So you could have easily have become a lawyer, and then you took this path and went.
I still think about it. My life could have been so different.
We've got to share a picture of this one day, so I want to see a picture of you at that stage in your life.
Yeah.
Before
I've got to dig it out somewhere.
Yeah, this I got to see as well, because obviously you look very different right now, and you're on one of your what would you call it? How do you describe it?
So right now I'm 2 weeks away from a photo shoot, which is. It's more just a personal challenge again. I like to practice what I preach. We were talking about this off air before we got on.
Yeah, we'll continue this as well, actually.
And for me, it's extremely important that any practitioner in any field practices what they preach. And a big part of that for me is ultimately getting into shape and showing that I can't just do it once, that I can do it repeatedly. So there's one thing, there's a saying I always say is if you want to take your clients to the extreme, you have to have gone to the extreme yourself.
Yeah.
And if you haven't been to that extreme, how can you relate to your client along that journey? And this extreme is all relative. So for some person, it could be dropping 5 stone. For other person, for me, it's getting completely ripped where there's not much body fat left on me. It's all relative to what you deem as extreme, but it's important that any practitioner in any field, whether you're finance, in your case, whether you're a life coach, dating, whatever it is, that you've been to that extreme yourself, so you can relate to your clients. You know when they're feeling low, when they're struggling, that you've been there as well. You felt that feeling, and you know how to navigate around it. So this for me is essentially sharpening the sword. Like I'm doing it again because every time you do it, it's different. Your life is different. The struggles you have are different. The way you set up the diet is different. So every time is a new experience. It's sharpening the sword. It's getting better, and ultimately it allows myself, but really the company as a whole and everything we're doing, to be able to service our clients in a better way and ultimately help them change their lives for the better.
See, I think it's important as an example when you're actually doing and practicing what you preach, because from your client's perspective, they're seeing that firstly, you're not full of shit. You're someone who actually backs up their talk and actually does what they say they do. Yeah. And it's not just a question of you saying to people, do this. Because I used to have this coach ages ago. This was in badminton. But he was the type of person who would tell people what to do. He was a good player, but he would never practice any of the things he would say. Yeah. See, I am one of these people. My mindset is that if I'm going to coach someone on something, I have to live it. And if I'm not living it, it goes back to that story, that fable about Gandhi, where a parent brings their son to Gandhi and says, my kid keeps eating sugar. And they spent 7 days traveling there. And he sent them away, said, look, come back in 2 weeks. Then we travel back. Then they came back and they arrived back and stuff. And the Gandhi says to the kid, give up sugar. And she's like, why did you send us away? Why didn't you just tell him 2 weeks ago? And he goes, how can I tell him to give up sugar when I'm eating my sugar myself? Mm-hmm. So he used that time to give up on sugar. And I think, but that's such an important thing. There is, like Tony Robbins, we were at Business Mastery recently. And one of the examples he gave is that he was training people to shoot, become expert marksmen. And the military wanted him to cut down their training time from 4 days. Now, he'd never shot a gun in his life, but he was an expert at modeling people. So he had to immerse himself in that, learn exactly what they did, and then he could pass that on to other people. And I think that's so important.
There's certain things you can't learn in a textbook.
Yeah.
You can read all about it. You can read the blogs. You can listen to the podcast. But unless you experience it, you can never be able to. You can never coach it. But I also think it's important to not just do it. I've just done it once. Like, you get a lot of people in my field, for example, they got in shape once and suddenly they're set for life and they get out of shape and they just keep, using the same old pictures again over and over. But I think it's important that you keep sharpening the sword, because you're going to keep learning and you can keep empathizing and you can show that you can still do it. And you can still put yourself through the hard yards, because getting into extreme shape is no easy feat.
Oh God,
the mind games, the fatigue, the mental struggles, everything you put yourself through is brutal, and you have to remember that. You can think about it, how I remember how it used to feel, but unless it's fresh in your mind, you're not going to know, right?
No, it's true.
So right now, I'm speaking to you now, and I'm giving all my energy now, but after this, I'm probably going to collapse in the car on the way home.
This is quite tiring, though, as well. People underestimate. Actually, it takes a lot of energy just to do this. Actually, just to give you energy and your focus to something like this, it takes a lot out of you.
Yes.
When I do my lives on Saturday night on the radio show, I'm spent after that. Absolutely spent, because I give everything I've got to that live.
And this is part of it. And it's one thing doing it when you're young, you've got no responsibilities, no stresses, but when you've got the stress of business, you've got all the life things that happen, and if you're running a business, there's always some sort of stress going on. And when you have to push yourself mentally and physically through a diet, there's other things you learn about yourself. And one thing I always say is that the physical is the vehicle to greater good in your life. Because what I find is, as you push yourself to the extreme physically, you have to take yourself mentally into such a place where the insights, the introspection you gain about yourself is so critical and so revealing that it makes you a better person and it makes you better in everything you do.
No, absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more. I don't know if I told you this as well, but I'm training for the marathon next year. So I did it in 2012, but I got to about mile 14, 15 and I burned out. And I knew if I carried on running, I would make it to the end. So I had to walk the rest of the way. And I made it to the end, right? And I was on the final straight and I got overtaken by that 101-year-old Sikh guy at that time. Do you remember that Sikh guy as well?
I don't know.
He's very well known. I think he's still around, and he started running marathons when he was 87.
Yeah.
I've forgotten his name. Someone out there probably knows his name. But literally, I was on that home straight and I got overtaken by him. I was like, you son of a gun. So, but ever since then, I thought, right, I've got to do this again. So my plan is to do it next year. And I at the beginning of this year, I wanted to take my training to more seriously. Let's not say to another level. I've always been exercising, but I wanted to become more serious about my physical, because I was out with some friends last year, all in our 40s now, and it was all boys. Instead of the conversation being about the usual boy chat, it was all about our health. Like, one had just been in hospital, the other one had just been really ill, and I just thought to myself, you know what, we're not getting any younger. If you don't take care of yourself, if you don't look after yourself, you're going to suffer. So since the beginning of this year, I've been waking up at 5 a.m. every day, going to the gym. I've missed about 14 non-rest days since the beginning of the year.
That's pretty good going.
It's not bad, but and I've had injury. I've had back injury. I've been really ill. There were days when I was sleeping 1 hour and I was still getting myself out of bed, getting to the gym. The first 3-4 months, because I'm a late sleeper, so to reprogram myself to sleep early was really difficult, and I just couldn't do it. And the more you try and sleep early when you're a late sleeper, the less you can sleep. So I was going to sleep, and then going to sleep about 4, having to push myself out of bed at 5 in the morning. I'd go to the gym, even if it meant going to the gym and coming back home and getting some sleep. I wanted to make that habit. And I don't know about you, but I was doing this thing where I still do it even now, right? I wake up in the morning, I'm like, I'll go for an easy workout. Yeah, this is the way I get myself out of bed, right? I'll just take it easy today. Go do 20 minutes on the bike and I'll come home. Yeah. Whenever I get to the gym now, I can never do an easy workout. I really push myself. Yeah. Yesterday, I was like, I'm aching today from my workout yesterday. And it's just become part of that mindset now about, pushing yourself, training hard.
Do you know what that is, though? What you've done there is you've set up a success trigger.
Exactly.
You made it so easy for yourself. You said to yourself, right, if I just get out of bed and do 20 minutes easy, that's a win. So anything else is a bonus.
Exactly.
But also the hardest thing is just getting out the door.
Yeah, it is.
And I talk about this a lot where you got to set up precursors in your day to make it as easy as possible for you to execute the habit.
Yeah.
So for example, what you said there, and a way to make it easier would be to put your shoes next to your bed and put your gym kit laid out in front of you.
Yeah.
Then it's easy. You get in your kit and then you're pretty much, I'm in my kit now. Yeah. My shoes are on. I might as well get out of the house. Once you get out of the house, Okay, I'm going to drive to the gym anyway. And now you're there. I'm not going to waste my time. I'm going to get it done. So it's just building and cascading a habit on top of a habit. And it's something, if you've read a book called Atomic Habits by James Clear, but
I know the guy.
it's an excellent read for anyone who's trying to build habits.
I
One thing he talks about a lot is habit stacking and making it as easy for yourself to build them on top of each other.
No, I heard him on a podcast recently as well, and there's definitely a book I want to check out. But you're absolutely right. So two of the key reasons I invited you to here today as well. So apart from, well, let's say that the whole embodiment of it was that I see someone who's really tapped into his own excellence in two key areas, one of which is your business, and the second area is your mindset. So I wanted to tap into that so people can kind of take something from you in terms of everything you're doing at the moment. Because like you said, you're in your element right now, shredding, getting your body ready. And that isn't an easy thing to do. You make it look easy, but it's by no means easy. So I wanted to find out from you, what are you doing now? What are you, because I'm sure temptation is everywhere, right? Even like you came around today and, could have easily offered you something by accident and you could have seen something nice and thought, could have some of that, but you don't. And so what is it for you that keeps your mindset in the right place or stays focused on your end goal? What do you do? How do you maintain that?
I mean, for me right now, failure isn't an option. And it sounds like one of those cool sayings you can have, but there's too many people that I need to be on my A game for. I can't let them down. And this for me is our clients and the people that we're serving and anyone that's being impacted by the work we're doing. I have to lead from the front here. And for me, leading from the front means executing on and essentially practicing what I preach. How can I tell someone to get up at 5, go for cardio, do their steps, eat well, avoid temptation when I can't do it myself?
Of course, absolutely.
So for me, that's a big part of it. And then secondly, and the real probably the answer that you're thinking of is it's more about seeing how far I can take it. And for me, everything I do, whether it's business or in the act of preparing for a competition or photo shoot this time, it's about diving deep into my inner psyche and seeing how far I could push it. Like how much, what is my pain tolerance level? Like how much can I suffer to get this goal? And it's always a case of self-improvement, and I see it as a vehicle of self-improvement, because I know if I want to get into shape, you can't cheat that. You can cheat other things, but if you cheat getting into shape, you won't get there. So for me, it's like a reset, and there's so many things you have to do in your day, your mindset, your approach to everything, that there's just so many lessons to be learned. So for me, it's very much a case of self-improvement, and failure just isn't an option there.
So why this? Why I know you kind of touched it and alluded to it slightly, but why this? Why getting your body into shape? Why just for a photo shoot? What does it mean to you?
Why physical? Because it's, for me, physical is the foundation to everything else. If I can master my body, I can master everything else. I can't control my own self. How can I help someone else if I can't help myself? How can I build a business if I can't build my own body? So for me, it's very much the foundation, and that's why I put so much emphasis on the physical, and that's why I always say the physical is the vehicle to transforming everything else.
Absolutely.
And I see it all the time. For me, we work with so many different types of people, and we hear the feedback. And yes, they get into great shape. Yes, they look great, but it's the other stuff that really matters. It's the confidence to do something new. It's the confidence to fulfill their potential in all areas of their life. It's asking for that raise. It's quitting their job. It's asking that girl out, asking that guy, whatever it is. It's the confidence to do other things in your life that you now get from mastering your physical being. Is why I see it as the foundation, and why I believe everyone should experience that and take themselves through a transformation because of everything else it gives them, not just for the physical, everything else.
Absolutely, I think that's spot on as well. I think it's incredible what you've achieved so far as well, and I think people seeing that kind of want a piece of the action as well, because you said it as well. I think at some point I saw you write this as well. There was a lot of that Asian mentality as well, especially that our body types are a certain way. and you kind of wanted to show people actually, anyone can do it. That's just it's just a limiting belief at the end of the day.
The Asian thing is something. Yes, we help a lot of Asians, but I don't think I don't think being Asian is a thing. Like, you don't think. I think what it is with Asians is the more psychological. It's the stigmas created around the community.
Yeah.
And it's the self-limiting beliefs that you just said that, oh, I'm Asian, so I can't be in shape. Well, I know too many Asians that have crossed too many age groups, too many backgrounds that have got into incredible shape, and they're Asian. And it's simply a rewiring of your psychology. For example, your brother and sister-in-law. I mean, they're 42 kids, and they're in shape that most people in their 20s would be envious of.
Yeah.
Hopefully they're listening and they hear that.
Yeah, amazing. I think I did see them online actually.
Big shout out to Biraj and Sill there.
Yeah. No, it's incredible, especially with kids as well.
That's what I'm saying. Kids, business, work.
Yeah. Travel.
And then I mean, Biraj is always traveling.
Yeah.
We've got the age thing there. You got Asians. There's so many self-limiting beliefs there that people have, but they've just rewired their psychology and they believe that they can do this, and they're setting an example for everyone else around them. And I think it's incredibly inspiring what they do. Absolutely.
Again, I think it's just it's just down to the fundamental underlying belief that we all have. But
Biraj just giving us a muscle up.
Yes, he has indeed as well. And he is. He's looking so toned at the moment as well. I was saying, sorry to put this on camera, by the way. I saw his legs the other day because he'd waxed his legs, so they're looking sweet, by the way.
So you saw his legs, but I got his torso shot yesterday.
Did you?
He said he dropped 1 kilo of hair, body hair.
Actually, mine would be about 7. In fact, most of this is just hair underneath. But underneath this, there is a 6-pack. It's just hair, just being protected by hair. But no, that's wicked. And now you've taken everything that you've. The other aspect to this as well. Where did your business acumen come from? Yeah. So where did you get this idea of doing this? I know you said obviously you wanted to do this because you wanted to. And give yourself a better quality of life for yourself as well. But where did you come up with the concept of the online coaching and being able to then build that and grow that as a business? Where did that acumen come from you? Because like you said, you didn't go to university.
No, I did go to university.
You did.
No, I did.
Sorry, you did.
I did sports science at university.
All right, cool. So after that, then, but where did the business? Because obviously you don't.
I mean, the business acumen. When people ask me, "What do you do for business?" I mean, I still think I'm too early in the game to be able to give business advice. So we've only been running RNT for 2.5 years. So for me, that's still very early in the game. But if you want to know what's giving me the entrepreneurial flair, I mean, the online element came from, I first started helping a friend of mine who, when I was 18, he was in London and I was in Birmingham University, and I was giving him online advice.
Okay.
That was the first sort of online client I had, which was now nearly 10 years ago. And then I dabbled in it through university, and a little bit more while I was working in the city, and then I just realized that this could be a really good model going forwards. And then in terms of business, I mean, I think a lot of it comes from my mum, who's an entrepreneur herself.
Oh, really? Okay.
And so we talk business, and I've been around that sort of environment all my life.
Oh, brilliant! Okay.
So that's always been a big help, and she's probably my biggest mentor to date. But otherwise, it's just the case of. With RNT, what we've done is I've just put out a lot of information, and I've just showed people results, and that's been the sort of formula: is put out amazing content for free, and actually help people with it. And when you work with clients, get them great results. It's as simple as that, really. Just help people get amazing results, and then tell everyone about it.
Yeah. You make it sound so easy. Well, no, it is actually. I think if you find a formula that
it's
works.
Not easy. Like running business isn't easy.
Of course.
It's brutally tough. But what I always say is some of my best lessons from business have come from bodybuilding. Because when you're fatigued, you're in a massive calorie deficit, you're struggling, you have to dig deep and really grind it out. I'm talking physically. But the same thing applies to business. And also when you're dieting down and you're getting into incredible shape, the structure, the systems and strategies you have to put into your life carry over to everything you do. Because then you got to be structured with your day. You got to be, and all of this time that you're spending on your body, when you shift to maintenance, you can unlock that time and put it into your business.
Yeah.
And you can carry the habits that you've accomplished in your business into your in your body transformation into your business. And a lot of people listening to this might not be in running their own business. That doesn't matter because it applies to work as well. Everything you do applies to any sort of career that you're in.
Yeah, absolutely. And so let's take it down to another level now. Let's talk about, in fact, what you're doing specifically in terms of where does someone start if they want to transform their body, right? So take me, for example, right? I'm going to be doing the marathon next year. I want to not only improve my fitness, improve my structure, lose the belly flab. As you can see, I've got great legs and everything as well, but obviously all my fat is right here. Where does someone start? If they want to kind of start changing their body and transforming their body, what do they need to do?
So as I said earlier, create success triggers for yourself and make it as easy as possible. Start with basic habits. Now, I love a step count. I think it's a great, easy target to have every day. Someone can start with 10,000 steps a day. Just start with that. Like if you're at ground zero, just start by trying to hit 10,000 steps a day and see what happens. Once you've done that, okay, now I'm going to try and drink 3 liters of water a day. Once you've done that, okay, now I'm going to have 3 servings of protein a day, and just build it up, layer it on top of each other, because that way it's going to make it less overwhelming for yourself, as opposed to saying, right, I'm going to do this, and go in. And look, that's what we do with our clients, because we're trying to get a result fast at the beginning and then build on it. And there is something to be said for going all in and throwing yourself into the deep end. But if you're asking from a where do we start sort of thing, then just start with a habit and build on top.
Cool, no worries. And then at that point as well, if you've got, see, I think some people have a big goal in life, right? Let's say they want a physique like yours, but sometimes they it's so far away from them, that kind of goal, that they keep on talking themselves out of it.
Yeah.
So what can they do in that situation if they keep on kind of talking themselves out of their goal because they think there's no way I can look like Akash?
Yeah.
What do I do?
Yeah, it's that fear of success.
Yeah.
I think there's a couple of things there. You've got to break it down into chunks. I think you've got to really connect with your why. You've got to understand why you're doing this and why it's so important to you. And not just say, yeah, because I want to look like that guy. It's no, what's it really going to do? Like, how is it going to help your business? Is it going to help your work? Is it going to help your relationships? Is it going to help your energy? Is it going to allow you to play with your kids better? Think about that. Connect to it. Really deeply understand why you're doing it. The second thing would be, break it down into small chunks. If you have, say, 30 kilos to lose, okay, I'm going to try and hit that first 5 kilos. Let's try and set a date for that and create accountability around that. So don't just say you're going to do it by, I don't know, 6 months' time. Create accountability around that, whether it's telling your friends, whether it's telling your spouse, or whether it's putting a bet on it. Make it a game. Don't make it so tough for yourself. Make it so difficult and unrealistic. So I think accountability is huge. Habit formation is massive. And then connecting with your why. Those 3 things can make all the difference.
And then if you've got to that point where habit is good, you're drinking, you're exercising and stuff, but you're not necessarily seeing the results you want, where should you go from there?
Well, if you're not seeing results and you're doing all of that, then you're probably either eating too much or not moving enough. And at that stage, I would recommend calculating what you're doing and being more strategic around it, because ultimately it's simple calories in, calories out for the most part. So you're either eating too much or you're moving too little, and you need to figure out which one is which.
Yeah.
And if you're doing this yourself, then you've got to calculate the diet, got to calculate your activity, and do it accordingly.
That's my problem. Definitely too much, way too much, especially too much sugar. Definitely for me.
Yeah.
I know that. And then what about in terms of, in fact, actually, can you talk people through kind of like what you're doing at the moment, your kind of typical day in your structure, how much you're eating, how much you're training and so on and so forth. What are you doing to get to this stage at the moment?
Okay, so it's probably good to disclaimer it and say it's not for everyone.
Of course, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, right now I'm weight training 6 days a week. I'm doing anywhere between 17 and 20,000 steps a day. I am doing cardio for 50 to 55 minutes a day. I'm eating around 160 grams of protein, 30 to 40 grams of fat, and 100 to 125 grams of carbs. So anywhere between 13 and 1,500 calories a day. So it's very extreme.
Yeah, like I said, very extreme.
There's not. What I'm chasing is extreme, so I've got to do extreme things. In terms of a typical day, it's very much. I wake up around 5:30 typically. I work from 6 till 9, and then 9 o'clock I'll walk to the gym. I'll train, come back, have breakfast, then I'll carry on working. I'll eat again around 3ish. Eat again around 6, 7, and then I'll fit in cardio in the evening as well.
Nice. So you're actually training multiple times a day.
Yeah, the cardio is done outside. I just power walk outside for an hour.
Nice. We had a question from Reno Popat. She said, "What sort of proteins could you take, especially for vegetarians and looking to compete in powerlifting?" Oh, that's a very good question.
Yeah. So vegetarians, again, there's a big stigma around vegetarians and vegans that they can't get into shape. But there's plenty of protein sources. I mean, if you eat dairy, then that's obviously a big help. You know, you've got Greek yogurt, tofu, protein powders, lentils, beans, meat replacements if you eat them, different types of soy. So there's plenty of different proteins you can have there. And if you're looking to compete in powerlifting, I would just say find a sensible program online and follow it, because it's very rare I get asked about powerlifting, because most people just want to look good. But if you are training to be a powerlifter, and I've done powerlifting in the past, then you've got to be a bit more strategic with everything you're doing. I'm not sure if you're familiar with powerlifting.
A little bit, as in I know what it is, but I wouldn't have a first clue how to train powerlifter. I just lift heavy things and see how it goes. That's my structure in training. No, I do structure my training a little bit. So I do cardio 6 days a week, but I do weight training 3 times a week. So I do 1 day is legs, 1 day is upper body for the weight training, and then I'll do just a mix of general. So I'll do just the basics. I'll do squats and press ups and and chest and things like that. So all the core muscle groups. So that's kind of my training at the moment. 10,000 steps I hit pretty much easily every day anyway. So for me, 10,000 is kind of like normal now. I think that's what for me as well. That's what I found, is that when you've done this, when I've seen documentaries on TV and people talk about 10,000 steps, they're like, "What, 10,000 steps? That's low." I'm like, that's like average for me.
So if it's average for you, then you should try and push it up.
Yeah, I do. I actually do, and especially now that I've actually. It was only recently, literally 2 weeks ago, I was talking about the marathon. I'm actually going to run it for a lovely couple called Sejul and Manoj, who've got a child called Shiv. They've got a charity called Smile with Shiv. So I want to run it for him. So now, as of next week, my training starts. That's one thing about the marathon in the UK, is that it's in April, so you actually have to train through the winter, which is a real pain in the backside. If only it was in September, it'd be perfect. But I've done it before. I have trained before, and sort of I know what's involved. I think I didn't push myself far enough in the training stages, which is my shortcoming that time. But running, for me, 2 things that changed my life, because I was so unfit up until 2005. What changed for me big time was 2005, went through a bad breakup. I was in such bad shape. I had hit 23 stone, and I had nowhere near as much muscle as I do now. Walking down the stairs at work, and I was in pain. And I thought to myself, even though I was playing a bit of badminton, I thought something has got to change. So that was when I started running. And I remember the first time I ran about, I think I didn't even make it a mile. I ran with one of my best mates who was quite good at running at that time. Ran about a mile, didn't even make it in a mile. Second time I ran, I think I made it almost 2 miles, and then I just built it up, and then I did loads of 5Ks for charity. And then I went to my 10Ks, and then I did 3 half marathons, and I did the marathon. And I'm not even sure what happened that day, why I struggled to get past 14, 15 miles. It was just one of those things. I just hit a wall at that stage. And I just knew in my body that if I pushed myself, I wasn't going to make it to the end. So I thought, let's just make it to the finish line.
Yeah.
But yeah. So yeah. Anyway, so that slightly digressed there as well. What another question for you as well from Radhika. She said, "What hours are best for intermittent fasting?" That's an interesting question. Yeah, I know a bit about intermittent fasting as well.
So intermittent fasting is often spoken about as a magic tool. But ultimately it comes down to calories in and calories out.
Exactly.
And what intermittent fasting is, and for anyone who's listening that doesn't know what it is, it's basically time restricted eating. But all it is an easier way to manage your calories. So I'm a fan of it, but I don't call it intermittent fasting. I just call it the way I eat.
Yeah.
Because for me, it works for my lifestyle, and it's important that whatever diet you do, it's key. It works for your lifestyle. For me, eating at 11 a.m. works really well because it means I can get a lot of work done in the morning without worrying about breakfast. So that works really, really well. It also helps me manage my hunger because I can have bigger meals as opposed to having little rabbit portions throughout the day. And I don't want to keep stopping my day to eat. So that helps me manage that and live my lifestyle. I personally do 11 a.m., 3 p.m. and 7 p.m. So that works really well for me. For other people, it might be 2, 4, 8. There's no right or wrong here. As long as the calories at the end of the day work out to be the correct for you, then the timings are completely accordance to your lifestyle, your work, your hunger, your energy, and how you feel best.
Is that what you do at the moment? So you don't have breakfast till 11 o'clock in the morning?
Yeah.
So you actually do your work and then you train as well before you eat? So
I do most, yeah.
So you train in a faster state?
Yeah, I use essential amino acids.
Okay.
So I use amino acids, creatine, and some salt as well.
So is that prior to training?
That's during training.
During training, yeah?
Yeah.
So what do you do? Tell everyone exactly what it is you do.
So I take essential amino acids, 15 grams, creatine, and salt. The salt is to help with the pump.
Yeah.
The reason I take the essential amino acids is because I'm trying to protect a lot of muscle mass. It just helps me stay in that flow state when I'm training and maintain the muscle mass that I've got.
Gotcha. And then when do you finish eating at the end of the day? What's your
dinner around 7?
7, yeah? And then that's it. That's your last meal of the day.
Done, yeah.
Then that's it. So you're pretty much doing almost a 16-hour window there anyway. Which is kind of
pretty
like
much.
the format.
Sometimes I'll extend it to 12, 1. Like today I didn't eat till 12:30, so I extended it. But it was just because I was out. I was walking around, so I'm not stressed that if I miss the window a little bit, I'm not stressed about it. It's just whenever it happens. I might have dinner at 8 p.m. It's not a big deal. I'm not like 7 p.m. It's off, right?
Yeah.
It's whatever happens in the day.
Yeah. So you've actually, so we'll come back to a couple of questions in a minute as well. But you've actually worked with a few people who are vegan and stuff as well, because a lot of people do ask that question. I'm vegan now. I've gone vegan.
Yeah.
But I don't think there's. You can still do exactly what you want to do, but I'm sure you get this question all the time as well. So someone who's a vegan, what can they do, or what do they need to do if they want to go on a training program and they're worried about muscle or anything like that? Because I know you speak about this a lot as well. So what's kind of for your advice or your coaching to someone who's a vegan or even vegetarian as well, who wants to train, build muscle mass? What do they need to do?
So if you want to build muscle mass, the first thing is you shouldn't even be worried about your diet. The first thing is you need to train hard. You need to train like an animal. You need to train consistently like an animal, because that is the most important thing when it comes to building a body. A lot of people, there's always emphasis on nutrition, and people always want to talk about diet. People forget that training hard is what builds a physique. You can't build a physique eating meat and not doing anything. You have to train hard, which is what a lot of the vegans, vegetarians forget. You got to train hard.
Yeah.
Once you've done that, then make sure your calories are right. So if you're trying to lose weight, make sure you're eating a little bit less than you burn. Sorry, eating more than you. So my mind's going fuzzy now. But then you need to get a protein target, and I don't think the protein target needs to be as high as it's often touted to be. So I would say for, let's just say, a 200-pound person, if you can aim for anywhere between 140 and 200 grams, you're gonna be okay.
Yeah.
And you can get that as a vegan through tofu, protein powders, different types of soy, lentils, beans. You're going to get some incidentals from nuts. I wouldn't count them as main protein sources, but you're going to get some incidental proteins from there. And then I think now it's a lot easier to be vegan than it used to be.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, if you asked me 5-10 years ago, I would have said, yeah, you can do it. It's just going to be difficult eating out. It's going to be difficult buying foods. But now I find everywhere has a vegan option, and it's very easy now to get vegan protein sources as well.
Yeah.
So I think it's been completely overblown, and it's a lot easier to follow than it may have been 5-10 years ago.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think from my perspective as well, pretty much everywhere you go now has vegan options to eat. And generally, you know, if you know where you're going and stuff, and you kind of plan ahead, you can find very healthy places to eat as well. Unless you're in Vegas, then it's a different story. On the Strip anyway, there was absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
That was a bit of a hellish time, because we were at the seminar, and the only choice we had was to go for the buffet. Zip. All I was having every day was a bit of toast with rice on top and Mexican beans, and that was what I had 5 to 6 days straight for breakfast. It was horrible. It was all right. I mean, but it was just like, after a few days, you're like, God's sake. And then finally, we managed to, after it was over, found some beautiful vegan places, by the way. They were good as well, really good. So Renal's asking, by the way, is whey protein better pre-workout or after workout?
It doesn't matter. So again, whey protein, the way you need to think about it is it's literally a powdered chicken breast. I always explain it like that. And the reason why I explain it like that, not because it's meat, but because it's just protein in a different form. So you can have it in any way you want to hit your protein target. And all it should be done for is a form of convenience to make it easier for you to hit your protein target. There's nothing special about it. You don't have to have it pre-workout, post-workout. You can have it whenever you want in the day that allows you to hit your protein target. The reason why it's been marketed as post-workout is because it's easy to drink. And it makes it like an easy habit to implement into your day. But there's nothing special about when you have it, how you have it, how much you have it, etc.
Yeah. Excellent. Love it. Thank you very much for that as well. Keep your questions coming in, brother. If anyone has got any more questions as well, feel free to put them to Akash. And now's the time to pick his brain when he's here, because he's a very busy man these days as well. So especially with your training regimen as well. But I know we kind of touched on it as well, but I wanted to talk about a little bit more about what keeps you going. I know you have a goal, you kind of know what you want. Failure is not an option, but you're human at the end of the day.
Yeah.
You're going to have bad days.
Of course.
What really keeps you going on your bad days? What keeps your mindset focused on where you want to go and what you're doing and what you're working on at the moment? Because the thing is as well, I know what it's like, and I've been there, and I'm one of these people that when I get disciplined, I get disciplined, but equally so, those days when I'm not, it's so easy to cave, and there's temptation everywhere as well. How do you keep yourself?
This week's been one of the toughest on the diet.
Yeah.
I've had really low days of energy, bad mood swings, and I'm not going to sit here and say it's been easy at all. But the honest truth is that when I have those days, I just have to think back to why am I doing this? Like what would happen if I didn't do it? And am I willing to pay that price? And I think one of the reasons why people get a lot of self-confidence out of transforming the body is actually through the self-esteem you get through keeping the promise to yourself that you're going to tick all the boxes. And just through the act of ticking the boxes, you're building that self-esteem. So for me, it's like, if I don't do this, what's I going to say about myself? To my own self, not worrying about anyone else, but I'm just lowering my own standards. I've just got to think back to why I'm doing it. For me, it's, I spoke about before, it's practicing what I preach, it's sharpening the sword, it's trying to pursue a condition that very few can, it's being better than last time. So I've just got to think about these, and I know if I fall off track, I won't get there. So I've got to think about my why. And if you've got a strong enough why there, you've got to just connect to that in those weekdays. Like, and everyone's why is going to be different. Some people's going to be extremely deep, and for some people, if they don't do it, it's death. Like I've had people where if they don't sort themselves out, they're going to have all their health issues are just going to run them over. And if you slip once, you're gonna keep doing it. You lose the momentum. You lose the momentum. You lose the habits. So you've got to connect to that reason and understand why you're doing it. And it could be as shallow or as deep as it might be for you. It's got to be personal to you, and you've got to connect to it on those dark days.
Yeah. I was talking to someone else recently about the whole why mentality. About understanding your reasons. When I started at the beginning of this year, getting up at 5 every morning, what was getting me out of bed and stopping me from preventing me from pressing snooze. I've got into a bit of a bad habit again now. So I'm pressing snooze once, and I wake up about 5:10, which I slap myself. Now every time I do it, I'm like, idiot, don't do that, because that's just, as soon as you fall into the habit, it's easy to fall backwards. So I'm kind of retraining myself.
There is what I do is I put the phone on the other side of the room.
Good idea, yeah.
So every morning I have to get up to go do it. But also, again, what I say with the snoozing thing, if you snooze there, you're telling yourself that you'd rather be asleep.
Exactly.
And your goals aren't important.
Yeah.
But it's also, you snooze for 10 minutes, you're going to feel worse because your quality of sleep is terrible. You're getting 10 minutes of crap sleep.
Yeah. Just
to be in bed for a bit longer.
Yeah.
I'd rather just get out and get on with it. Right?
Yeah, it's true.
So just put your phone on the other side of the room.
Do you know what it is though, right? For me, when I put my phone on the other side of the room, sometimes I sleep through my alarms. What's worked for me is actually I use my Apple Watch because it vibrates, and I find that really helps to get me out of bed, because even though I can snooze it, but it wakes me up in a bit of a sort of, I'm a bit more alert. I don't know what it is, but it just works quite well for me. So I've been doing that, but that worked in that respect. But in terms of the actual habit of getting up, what was more concrete for me was the why, though. Realizing that up until that point, that if I was, as I was beginning to take my business more seriously, I couldn't afford to get up at 9 o'clock in the morning, 10 o'clock in the morning, then go to the gym and then be home by 12, 1 o'clock and then have something to eat. By the time that's done, it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon. There was just not enough time for that. For me, if I was going to establish a legitimate business and build on it, I needed more time.
Yeah.
And the only place I could find that time was in the morning, because I didn't want to sleep even later at night. My poor wife, bless her, she's an early sleeper, and we were just on a different clock for a while. And I thought I can't do that to her either. I needed to correct my cycle, go to bed early, wake up early, and it's having an effect on her as well. Now she started to wake up much earlier now as well, even though she was an early morning person anyway. She's pretty much waking up at the same time as me. She doesn't always get up at exactly the same time, but she'll wake up and she'll kind of just do a few bits in bed and stuff while she's there. But ultimately, though, it was remembering why I was doing it, was getting me out of bed.
Yeah.
That was pushing me out. It wasn't even the thought of having to snooze or anything like that, but just that why was so strong. I remember it being so strong. It was just getting my ass out of bed before I even had a chance to talk myself out of it. And that for me was more powerful beyond anything else. And I think that's, if I could say anything to anyone, is just when you connect with your why, when you find your why, then it just makes all the difference in the world. It makes, it will change everything for you.
Yeah, and it's scary to do it sometimes for people. It's scary to do the exercise. Like one exercise I tell people who are struggling with that is, ask yourself, so if I could ask you, why you don't do the marathon? What would your answer be?
For myself, for loads of, in fact, I could give you 3 or 4 different reasons, but
let's give one for now.
For one, so for me, it's about really pushing myself to see what I'm capable of.
Yeah, why is that important?
Because if I don't, I stagnate. And if I stagnate, I won't progress. I'll probably regress in my life. I won't achieve the things that I need to do. Like for me, what my mission in life is to impact every human soul on planet Earth. And I cannot do that in a stagnated place. If I want to do that, I need to push myself. And pushing yourself tells people a story about that they can also go beyond. And if I'm not doing that, then people aren't going to buy into what I'm saying.
Exactly. So you've connected there that this marathon is your path to making impact in this world.
Yeah.
And if you don't connect to that on those dark days, you're going to forget.
Exactly.
So you got to remember that when you're going through your bad period. And also, you got to tell your closest people around you about this, because if you don't have good social support around you, you're going to struggle, because you can't do this yourself, right? I can't do this myself. Yeah. Like, I'll tell the people closest to me what I'm doing, why it's important to me, and they'll support me out of that. And that allows you to get through your bad days as well. And I talked earlier about connecting to your why, but it's also having people around you remind you of that why and just pull you through those dark days, because no one can do this themselves. You can't build a business on your own. You can't transform your body on your own. Yes, it's driven by you, but you need people around you to kind of push you along when it gets tough.
Yeah,
because it will get tough.
Yeah, God, yeah.
Like when you're waking up it's freezing cold in November, and you got a marathon to prepare for, you got to tell your wife. Your wife will be the one that pushes you out of bed.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Actually, funny enough, I don't know about you, but I find it easier to wake up in the winter than I do in the summer. I don't know why I struggle more in the summer, but in the winter, I was up like a shot and just didn't. The cold weather doesn't bother me at all. But for some reason, the hot weather makes me just feel that ever slightly more lethargic.
Yeah.
So maybe that was it. I'm not sure. But keeping the promise is key. This is what we learned at Tony Robbins. Absolutely. As Siddha was saying as well, definitely agree on the low days. Team effort really helps as well.
We're thinking obviously the same.
Yeah, exactly, right. You've got a great team around you. Other thing I saw you talk about on your profile, I think it was about 4 or 5 months ago, about journaling. So I want to ask you about that as well. Why did you start that? What's it meant for you? What have you got out of it? Where did you get the idea from?
So I started journaling last November. So it's been almost a year now. And so I love writing from my blog and other people's blogs, but I like the process of writing. But it was never writing for myself. As in, what I mean by that is it was always writing for the public, essentially. I was never doing anything for myself. So, concept of journaling, it originally started as a way of just sort of introspecting with myself, but writing that nothing needs to be published with this. It's just for me. What it evolved into was essentially a cornerstone habit that I do almost every day. And it's really given me insights into myself that I don't think I would have got without it. And it's also become like a form of therapy for myself to be able to work through my feelings, work through any struggles, issues, problems, stresses, and sort of write my way through it. And it gives me strategy time. It gives me a lot of me time. And that's what it is really. And I don't do it long. I do it 5-10 minutes when I wake up, just 5-10 minutes. And all I do is I just free flow. I don't have too much structure about it. I just open the page. I write down the day. I write my body weight down as well, because this is the habit I track.
Yeah.
And then I just write whatever comes to mind. And it could be reflecting on the day before. It could be what I want to achieve in 6 months' time. It could be a problem I'm trying to figure out. There's no set structure to it. I just go with the flow and see what happens. But it's very therapeutic, and I enjoy it, and I encourage everyone to do it because you learn about yourself. Like if you're trying to cut a bad habit, you can journal your way through it and understand, why am I doing that bad habit? Like, why do I always reach for the biscuits after dinner? What am I doing? You can go through that and explain to yourself why you're doing it, and then have to potentially figure out a solution.
Yeah. So has there been anything specific as well that you found from doing the journaling that's helped you?
Yeah, I mean, a lot. What it's done is it's given me a lot of clarity in my life with what I want to achieve, how I want to achieve it, the lifestyle I'm working towards. It gives me a lot of strategy time as well for the business. But clarity, and which is essentially clarity. It gives me a lot of clarity. If I could put it into one word, it just gives me that. Okay, why am I doing this? Or what am I trying to achieve? Or what am I trying to work around right now? So for example, yesterday, so the day before, I spent time journaling about how I was feeling during this particular moment in the photo shoot, and why it's important that I'm feeling this way, because I'm creating new levels of empathy. Why is that important? It just helped me connect with my why. So it changes every day why I use the journaling, but clarity is what it gives me in every department of it.
Nice. What about you in terms of your long-term goal for you, your health, your personal achievement in terms of your body, your physique, but also your business and what you're trying to do and how many people you're trying to impact and stuff? You know, what's kind of your goals? What are you working towards? Where do you want to be? Where do you see yourself in 5 years' time?
Yeah, it's always a tough question. I was saying to someone else the other day, and I say this quite often actually. You know, people ask me what your 5-year plan is.
Yeah,
I have no idea.
I'm in the same boat.
But it's because life changes. What I've learned in my young years, not that old.
Right?
I'm going to be 28 next year.
Hey, you're 28?
Yeah.
Wow,
27.
so young.
I'm going to be 28. Wow. But what I found is every year my life changes so much. Yeah. I'm like, I don't even know what's going to happen in 5 years' time. For me, I tend to look like 6 months in advance.
Yeah. I think that's actually a good chunk.
Rather than sketching out 5 years. Like, people always ask, what's your 5-year business plan? I have no idea. 5 years ago, I wasn't doing this. A year ago, the business was completely different. A year ago from now, I'm sure it'll be completely different. So I'm just going to focus on what I'm doing right now.
Yeah.
In terms of like how many people we're trying to impact, I don't have a statement like I want to impact 1 million people or anything like that. What I do believe is everyone should experience the benefits of a physical transformation, and they should experience the vehicle, the physical being a vehicle to the greater good in their lives. And I think everyone should have that experience because of how life-changing it can be.
Absolutely. Again, I think you hit the nail on the head. That I think thinking actually in small chunks actually is probably sometimes more beneficial, because thinking 5 years can be so esoteric to us. Our brains don't often work like that. But if you're thinking in small chunks forward, 3 months, 6 months, maybe up to a year, possibly, it's more digestible to us. We can actually tangibly think, right, these are the steps I'm going to do, or this is what I'm going to do, or try and do. Like you said, could change, right, at a moment's notice, because something else is going to come up and disrupt it. You know, someone else could completely disrupt your business model, or something can come along, right? So anything could change at any time. But I think it's just important to have a goal and something to work towards. And
see, what we do is so life-changing. So for me, that's the driver. And I know by default we will help more people, and it will continue to change people's lives. But that's the day-to-day why. But it's also the bigger vision as well, because I believe everyone should experience that. But coming back to your question of like 5 years time, I don't know how that will play out. And that's just me being completely honest. I don't have a 5-year plan.
Yeah. So tell us a couple of stories you've had recently and stuff in terms of people, the impact it's had on people that you've worked with, and the changes it's had in their lives and what it's meant to them.
Sure. I mean, where can we start?
There's been a lot.
We can start with one person who we could say he broke the net this year.
Really?
One of our clients. Not quite literally, but
yeah, I was gonna say. I was like, what?
One of our clients, Dick says, he at the age of 50 years old, he lost 50 kilos.
Oh god, that's
incredible. And he had borderline diabetes, he had gout, blood pressure, on track for heart problems, the lot. But he's lost 50 kilos at the age of 50 years old. I mean, you don't even need to look at the pictures to know how big of a change that would be, but also how much it would change your quality of life. Everything has changed. His quality of life changed. His business has transformed. His clarity. He can play with his kids now. You know, it's life changing. So that's just one example of that.
Any others as well?
Yeah, I mean,
because I see the incredible stories and stuff, because you actually write these stories of these people and what they've been through. And I've seen, mums, dads, parents, who are working full-time jobs, long hours. I think there was one you posted, the vegan doctor, I think was one example recently.
Yeah, the vegan doctor, he, a very good friend of mine, Minil, he works as a doctor, so obviously erratic hours. He's vegan, and he's completely, like, you saw him, right? Completely transformed.
Yeah.
But he said to me, you know what? It's not even about the fact that I look great. I feel great, and that's a big thing. In that you feel amazing when you've accomplished it, because you've done something not many people can do, and the level of self-confidence that gives you just opens your mind up to new possibilities.
Yeah,
and that's what it's really about. It's very rarely just that. Yeah, it always starts with aesthetics. Let's not kid ourselves here. It always starts with aesthetics, but it always becomes more than that.
Any other particular ones that has touched you as well that you've seen? I mean, it's had an impact on you when they've told you their story.
Yeah, the story that always comes to mind is a client of mine who on New Year's Eve 2017 he messaged me saying, "Thank you, Akash. I was suicidal this year, a couple of months ago before I started RNT."
2017 was it?
Yeah, so New Year's Eve 2017. So start of 2018.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah,
I was at rock bottom. I was going to end it all. But RNT gave me a level of focus on myself and brought me back out from underneath.
Wow.
And I remember reading it just before switching off for New Year's Eve, and I thought, wow, this is why we're doing what we're doing.
Yeah.
Because we're not just transforming bodies.
That's incredible.
Yeah, and we've had quite a few of them actually now since then. But that was the first time I'd heard it from a level and depth. I wasn't aware we were impacting.
Yeah. And aesthetically as well, any particular person you've just seen the transformation, you thought, that's just incredible?
Well, everyone aesthetically. I mean, let's just give. Yeah, everyone aesthetically looks incredible.
Has there been anyone who's looked as good as me though? I mean, come on. I mean, that's
they haven't quite topped you yet.
Yeah, that's quite a tough ask. I mean,
when are we gonna get you on the website?
Soon. Well, now that my marathon training is starting, I'll tell you what, won't be long now as well. So Akash, enjoy your blogs. It's all about self-confidence as well.
Cinto, you're a baby.
Yeah, you're 28. You are a baby though.
She always tells me that. Yeah.
You are though, 28, man. But to be at this stage, actually, at 28, I think it's incredible. I wish. This is kind of just my own stupid thing, but just wishing in my life that I started doing what I'm doing now as well, much younger. But I've been coaching for 27 years, but, it was only really, I went through a bit of a major transition phase where I also tried to end my life as well back in sort of 2001, 2002, and I saw someone end their life right in front of my eyes as well. That things started to change, and then it was all through a book called Conversations with God. I don't know if you've ever heard of that book. It was a beautiful book that sort of started me down a new journey. But I just think to myself, well, where I was at 28 and where you're at as well, this little tiny piece of me is just a little bit envious, but everyone's got their own journey, of course, and I, to be honest, inside, and my wife and I joke about this, I feel 25. I don't feel like I'm 42.
That's all that matters.
Exactly.
That's all that matters.
I feel like this is why we don't have kids yet, because we both feel like we're so young. We're not even ready for kids yet, because I feel there's so much more to come. So even though there's a tiny bit of my brain that thinks that, but then there's another side that's, in fact, the bigger side, which is I don't even feel that age anyway. I don't feel 42 at all. In my head, mentally, I'm 25, and I'm just getting started. I know this is just the beginning. So,
Brilliant.
So apart from the hair, that's the only thing that gives it away. The thinning grey hair, that's about the only thing as well. But yeah, no, I think so far today has been just very intriguing, and I think it's incredible what you've achieved so far and what you're doing with not only yourself but with other people. And I think that again, for you, this is probably just the beginning of what's to come as well. And I'm looking forward to seeing what the next phases of your journey are going to be, and even after this as well.
Yeah.
So your photo shoot, and you're doing it with a group of people this time as well. You're not just doing it individuals. You're doing a whole bunch of you, right?
So the shoot, my own shoot, will be done myself, but there'll be a lot of people there shooting. We've got 10 people shooting that weekend.
Excellent. Yeah, and of course, Sital and Biraj.
Yeah.
They're looking forward to it now. They're looking forward to just getting it done.
Yeah, they got a holiday the week before it. So
I know.
They'll navigate them around that.
I know. That's.
I'm holding them accountable by telling everyone about this. Now.
Sorry for mentioning, guys. Sorry. And then after, actually, once you've done your photo shoot, what's for you? It's just maintenance.
It'll be a period of consolidation. So one thing we always talk about is once you get into
what does that mean? Actually, tell
so once you get into amazing shape, you don't want to just yo-yo back.
Yeah,
it's easy getting. It's actually easy getting into shape. It's hard keeping it.
Yeah.
That's why we have such a big dieting industry, because yo-yo dieting is so prevalent, and it's so important that once you get into shape, you spend time consolidating. So we call it the consolidation phase of the journey, and that's very much about once you reach your transformation checkpoint, you then learn how to maintain the gains. So everything you've worked you worked so hard for, how do you now keep it whilst living a normal lifestyle? That's the real magic, and that's the hardest bit. And that's why I always say maintenance, once you're there, is a goal in itself.
What's Akash Vaghela on a naughty day, right? When you feel like having a bit of a cheat, once you're
my go-to meal,
it
would probably be ribeye steak with triple cooked chips, and a dark chocolate brownie.
Oh no, nice! Sorry to make you think about it now,
and a glass of Malbec to go with it.
What's that? What's Malbec?
A red wine.
Oh, is it red wine? Okay, cool.
That's my go-to meal. A Hawksmoor.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah. I got invited to a lad's evening at Hawksmoor as well. I couldn't go because obviously I'm vegan. They don't do any vegan food as well.
Hawksmoor's the best restaurant in London.
Malbec, team effort.
Yeah, Malbec.
Bera says we're going to keep each other accountable.
Malbec from Mendoza.
Achieving everything you have before 30 and so much to come. So proud of you, AV, from Bujatelli.
Yeah, she's actually our business manager.
Oh, is it? Oh, yeah. Excellent. Definitely should be proud of all the things you've achieved. It's not just the physical transformations as well. Absolutely. So I'm looking forward to seeing you shoot wise. What's the end product is? Everything
it should be good. Yeah. Put a little teaser out last week.
Yeah, and your shot yesterday as well. I was in a restaurant.
Got the arse out yesterday. And the reason why I put that out, I don't know if you
get it. I read it when I read it.
It's such an extreme that is, and for me, that's my yardstick.
Yeah.
So if I can get to that, then I know I've covered that. For me, I've ticked the box already in my head. Now I just need to coast in for the next 2 weeks and hold it there.
Yeah.
But for me, that's my yardstick. I've hit it, so I'm happy.
Excellent. Well, dude, it's been a pleasure having you on. It's been an awesome. I'm so glad you came as well, because I know this has obviously been a tough time for you in terms of being in this phase when you're exhausted, you're pushing yourself to the next level.
I'm taking a gram of caffeine today, so that's keeping me going.
I could tell actually you're a little bit off the walls as well. You're like I could see your eyes going.
Yeah.
So I could tell there was a bit of caffeine involved there.
A lot of pills today.
No, but I think what I wanted to say though, honestly, like when I see what you do, seeing your results, what you've achieved with people, it pushes people, it makes people realize they can do it, inspires people into action. This is what this is all about. Feel inspired is getting people to that point, because the whole genesis of this was that for me, when I mentioned about that book, reading Conversations with God, that was like a book that got me inspired to take further action. Since then, there's been loads, but I think for everyone in life, there's some event, something happens that kind of switch that turns them on, that gets them going, that makes them think, shit, I haven't got no time to waste, or just they see someone's story or journey, anything like that. and that switch is turned on and they start making changes. And this is what I want to try and help people do, is perhaps unlock that switch or turn on that switch so they can start to make all the things, and there's less time, so you're not wasting any time not doing the things you want to do.
Brilliant.
I remember how restricted I was when my diet was poor, and all the things I couldn't do and all the things I can do now. Don't get me wrong, far from perfect, of course, but I'm in 1,000 times much better place than I was before.
Another just to bounce off that, another reason why I'm such a big believer in taking care of your physical is when you transform your body and you build those habits, you give your body good fuel, and you train it to essentially function at its best. There's always that analogy of if you want to have a Ferrari, you don't give it shit. Sorry.
No, please, no. This is a great thing about podcasts. We say whatever the
you don't give it crap.
Yeah.
But if you want to run on a Ferrari engine in your body, essentially, you've got to give it good stuff. And if you want to be your best in your relationship, if you want to be your best in your work, if you want to be the best day-to-day living, you have to be taking care of yourself.
Yeah.
You have to be giving it good fuel and training it so you can handle everything that life throws at itself.
Yeah.
That's why one of the reasons why I train. Yeah. It's so important.
Oh, just bouncing off that analogy, I think you're more the Ferrari, I'm more the sort of Beetle. So just to kind of
we'll upgrade you there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
I'll give you
get ourselves remolded.
Yeah.
No, my wife and I definitely going to be taking on the RNT challenge at some point in the future as well. So my wife's doing fantastic as well. She's been very good with her diet as of late, and she's lost a bit of weight as well. And like I said, my training starts now for the marathon as well.
Brilliant.
I've got to get myself into shape. I'm actually already doing quite well. I as in terms of who I am, I'm what is good when it's people I can fool people because I can actually run really long distances. People they look at me and they think, fat bastard. But actually I can run 10K without even training for it. So for me, I've got quite a lot of stamina. I can push myself very far, very easily. But just getting myself, because after the marathon, I actually want to go ultra distance after that as well. I'd love to push myself to an ultra distance, maybe a triathlon or something as well. So that's one of my next long-term goals as well.
Awesome.
So, but Mr. Vaghela, AV.
Thanks for having me.
No, thank you so much for coming down today. It's been an absolute pleasure, and it's been good getting some insight into how the Vaghela brain works as well, and what's coming up as well. I'm looking forward to seeing you after this photo shoot as well.
Thank you. Really appreciate it.
And to everyone watching right now as well, if you want to connect with this main man right here, as you can see, details are up there at Akash Vaghela, and it's at RNT_fitness.
Yes, correct. On
that's
Instagram.
The one I think I put it wrong on the poster, but it's RNT_fitness. If you want to connect with this guy, then that's the place to find him. And if you want to sign up to one of his coaching programs as well, just get in touch, I assume.
Yeah, just head to the website, www.rntfitness.com.
And you know what? The proof is in the pudding right here as well. If you want to change your physique, change your energy, change everything, I mean, just look at what we've got right here. Show me your bicep. Come on. Do a flip. Come on, this wouldn't be. Look at that. Look at this man right here, man. That, I mean, it's almost as good as this, almost. But we'll just use him as the example today. So no, thank you for coming down, man. Really appreciate it. It's been an absolute pleasure today.
You're welcome.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is episode 3 of the Feel Inspired podcast. Episode 4 coming soon as well. And obviously it'll be reposted. It's going to be online. It'll be on my blog. It's on Professional Asian right now. It's on Connect Asian. It'll be everywhere. So you can just rewatch. If you've just joined, don't worry, you can watch it in your own time as well. And there'll be the audio release soon as well. So I will catch you all soon as well. Have a beautiful weekend. Enjoy the bank holiday. And we'll see you all soon.
Thank you.
Take it easy. Ciao. We can finish off. There we go. And I'll just end the YouTube live as well. Stream. Brilliant. Good chat, mate.